Hi and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how I created this Light Fury plushie. I got the pattern for this doll from chloeknight.com. I will leave her link below if you want to check it out. This pattern will actually create Toothless and the Light Fury from How to Train Your Dragon. This pattern consists of 9 pages after you print it out. Some of the pattern pieces are too big for the 8.5 by 11 inch paper, so you will have to tape them together. After this doll is completed, it will be about 15 inches tall and about 8 inches wide, so it is a pretty big doll. The main body is made out of a white fleece material that has a 2-way stretch. A lot of the little pieces to this pattern you do have to duplicate. There is one that you have to duplicate 12 times, 6 of them one way, and then flip them over and do another 6. As you see here, I'm using a water-soluble marker that just comes right off the fabric with water. I bought 1.5 yards of this white fleece and I'm able to make 2 Light Furies out of it. The pattern for the wings has an optional top stitching diagram on it. I just drew that on the wings. I didn't use it since I drew it on the inside. For the face, it consists of the eyeballs and the nostrils. Here I'm cutting out the white eye shines out of the same fleece I used for the body. I used a teal color for the iris and the black for the pupil and the black for the nostrils. As you see here, I have a piece of paper with all the pieces I need for the appliques. If you look closely, you can see the skull that is on Toothless's tail. So on the face pattern piece, it does have the positions of where the eyes going. Here I'm just lining those up. And then I will whip stitch them into place with a matching thread. And then I added the pupils and the eye shines, and I whip stitched those on with matching threads. I also whip stitched on some nostrils. However, if I make this again, I won't be adding nostrils. Or if I do, maybe in a lighter shade. Here I'm actually getting ready to sew the head spikes together. I did draw some lines on there so that way I could see where my thread needs to go, since white thread on white fabric is very hard to see. After those are sewn together, I'm trimming the extra bulk of the fabric off the seam allowance so that way I can flip it. Then I will add those spikes into the dart there you see on the head and sew those together. And then sew the dart closed. Now it's time for the face spikes. There's actually a total of 6 face spikes on the head. Here I took that little bitty curvature piece, I sewed them together, flipped them, and then added them to the face. I did base these on before I sewed the back of the head on. Here I'm just using the face pattern piece to see where those spikes lay. On the printed pattern, they actually have a marking where they go. Once all the spikes are on, then it's time to sew the back of the head to the front. In the instructions it says to sew all along the perimeter of the head itself, and then the way you add the stuffing to it is you have to cut a hole in the back of the head, stuff it that way. I did not like that, so I am making a toothless Night Fury character as well. I actually left a side of the head open and then I ladder stitched it closed once it's stuffed. It looks so much better. And now we have a light fury head. I know the nostrils are off center or kind of janky, but that's the way they are. Now it's time for her ears. Do the same thing as you did the little spikes, so 2 pieces together. However, these ones you're going to stuff, and then you are going to gather the opening and then stuff everything inside, and then ladder stitch it to the head. Now it's time to sew the arms. You're going to do exactly the same thing as you did with the ears, except this time you're going to baste these to the front of the body. On the front body piece, it does have a marking on it where the arms are supposed to go. Next is the back spikes. I'm going to sew them just like I did with the head spikes. And since back of the body is actually in 2 pieces, you're going to baste it in the middle of the back pieces. And the pattern has the placement on it for that. And then you're going to sew those 2 pieces together. It's a little tricky to get around that curve of the spine, however, you just have to ease it in. The instructions say to do the wings now, so you just sew along the perimeter of the wing, making sure you get the points at the bottom. And then it says to top stitch it, which is optional. However, I figured that I wanted to stuff it a little bit just to give it a little bit more oomph to it, and then top stitch it. Then the instructions go on to say to attach the wings above the back spikes, and this is all before you put the front and the back of the body together. However, with Toothless, I'm actually putting the body together before I attach the wings and arms, because that was a lot to stuff in between that little bitty area. And when sewing around the perimeter of the body, make sure you leave an opening in the side. That way you can stuff it and then ladder stitch it closed. Now we can attach the body to the head, and all you do is just ladder stitch the head onto the neck of the body. We're almost done. It's now the feet and the tail time. And the feet is, you do it just like you did the arms, except for this time you actually close the entire thing and then ladder stitch it to the body. The tail, you want to sew it together, just leave an opening so you can lightly stuff it. Then you will ladder stitch it closed and then attach it to the tail. And then your Light Fury is done. She came out really cute, and I'm making a toothless one as well for my daughter's birthday. With toothless, you'll use the same exact pattern except a different color scheme, of course, and the tail you will do one set in the black and one set in a red, and with the skull that's on the applique page, you will just sew that right onto the red part, and that would be the only differences. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share. And I will see you next week. Bye.